Aria's POV. Please, take a breath. I told myself as I felt my heart racing and I couldn't catch my breath, my lungs constricting as if an invincible vice was squeezing the air out of me. I paced back and forth, trying to calm my nerves, but nothing worked. A scenario kept replaying in my head, making it worse. I felt my hands shaking and I squatted to the ground, still trying to gasp for air. The walls of the room seemed to close in on me, their edges blurring as my vision started to tunnel. Not again. Please, not again. The thought echoed in my mind, but it didn't help. My chest tightened further, and my hands reflexively pressed against my sternum, as if I could physically stop the overwhelming sensation. Tears burned my eyes, but I wasn't sure if they were from the panic or the frustration of not being able to control it. Why can't I just stop this? The memory, the one I couldn't escape, flashed again. Blood and flame spreading everywhere, the smoke choking me. Bark, bark. I heard my dog barking as it came into my room. When it noticed my state, it stopped barking and came towards me. It gave a gentle nudge against my chest, which eased the pain in my heart. I wrapped my arms around my dog, burying my face in its fur. The soft warmth of its body and the steady rise and fall of its breaths grounded me in a way that nothing else could. Hey, buddy, I murmured shakily, my voice still uneven. It sat firmly in front of me, its large, expressive eyes watching me with what felt like genuine concern. Another gentle nudge against my chest made me exhale deeply, and for the first time in what felt like an eternity, I felt a small sliver of calm. You always know, don't you? I whispered, stroking its fur. The repetitive motion of my hand gliding through its coat was soothing, almost hypnotic. The dog licked my face, a small, comforting gesture that drew a weak smile from me despite everything. You're my little hero, I said, leaning my forehead against its head. I began to stand up. Before I could enjoy the little moment of comfort, someone barged into my room and landed a slap on my face, making my head to hit the ground. What makes you think you have the right to not answer when I call? I heard the spiteful voice of my stepmom, Karen. Yep, that is her name. I am sorry, Ma, I was having a breakdown. Karen scoffed, towering over me with her arms crossed. Her cold, sharp eyes bore into mine as I tried to steady myself on the floor. A breakdown? Oh, give me a break. You're always making excuses, Aria. Do you think the world stops for your little episodes? Pathetic. My dog growled low in its throat, stepping protectively in front of me. Karen glared at it, but I instinctively grabbed my dog's collar, whispering, It's okay, buddy. Don't. You better keep that mud in line, Karen snapped. I don't have the patience for this nonsense today. I pressed my hand against my cheek where her slap had landed, the sting still fresh. I didn't hear you call me, Ma, I said quietly, my voice trembling. You didn't hear me? Her laugh was sharp and humorless. You're nothing but a useless burden in this house. If it weren't for your father, I'd have thrown you out ages ago. I can't be taking care of a werewolf that has no wolf. You are very useless to the core. I'll do better, I mumbled, lowering my gaze to the floor. It was the only way to make her stop, or at least I hoped it would be. Karen rolled her eyes and sighed dramatically. Go and attend to Bella and Lilith. Without waiting for a reply, she turned on her heel and stormed out of the room, slamming the door behind her. For a moment, I just sat there, feeling so numb. My dog whined softly, nuzzling against me as if to say, I'm here. I've got you. Tears welled up in my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. I couldn't. Not when Karen was always looking for any sign of weakness to use against me. You heard her right. I have no wolf. I have no wolf powers. Everyone turns when they reach 15. But I don't even have a wolf, talk less of turning into one. I took a shaky breath and stood, gently patting my dog's head. We'll be okay, I whispered, though the words felt as much like a plea as they did a promise. I glanced at the mirror on my dresser, catching a glimpse of my tear-streaked face and the red mark blooming across my cheek. I hoped to find my mate soon to end this nightmare once and for all. Straightening my posture, I wiped my face and took another deep breath and stepped out of my room. I would have been sleeping in an attic if I didn't beg my dad, who allowed me to stay in a servant room. I went to the living room, where Bella and Lilith sat sprawled across the sofas like queens on thrones. Bella, the eldest of Karen's daughters, was idly scrolling through her phone, her manicured nails clicking against the screen. Lilith, the younger one, was painting her nails a bright red, her expression one of pure boredom. They both glanced up as I entered, their eyes sweeping over me with disdain. Took you long enough, Bella said, not bothering to hide her annoyance. Lilith smirked, tilting her head as she inspected her nails. Pretty sure she was going through her episode. They both laughed hysterically at my demise. I wasn't bothered because I was already used to their maltreatment. I clenched my fists at my sides but said nothing. Talking back to them would only make things worse. Instead, I forced a small nod and asked quietly, What do you need me to do? Mom says you're supposed to clean up the living room, Bella said, her tone dripping with condescension. She flicked her wrist toward the mess they'd made, discarded wrappers, empty glasses, and a pile of shoes scattered across the carpet. And don't forget to vacuum, Lilith added with a smirk. This place looks like a pigsty, and we wouldn't want people thinking we're the messy ones. Their laughter resumed, and I felt my hands trembling with suppressed anger. They'll get bored eventually, I reminded myself. They always do. I moved toward the mess without a word, picking up the discarded items one by one. My dog followed me, his presence a quiet reassurance. I could feel their eyes on me as I worked, their snide remarks continuing like a steady drumbeat of mockery. Do you think she'll ever find a mate? Bella asked, her voice loud enough to make sure I heard. I mean, who would want someone like her? No wolf, no power. Total reject. Lilith giggled, twirling a strand of her hair. I bet her mate's out there somewhere, probably just as useless as she is. Their words hit me like a ton of bricks. What if they are right? What if my mate rejects me? I shook the thought away. I shouldn't be thinking negative of something that hasn't happened yet. Taking a deep breath, I forced myself to focus on the task at hand. One thing at a time, Aria. Don't let them get to you. But their words lingered, cutting deeper than I wanted to admit.